We're all set. Let's go.
So yeah, there are two options really if you don't have an iPad that supports cellular. Now there are forums which will tell you that you can use the GPS from your phone, which I've seen to be incorrect, and there are GPS enabled routers. This is one of them that's not officially supporting GPS but has it and doesn't support it, and I've got another one that does support GPS officially but still doesn't pass the information to the iPad. So what you'll need is one of those Garmin Glos and some kind of connectivity, as well as the RAM ball mount, the arm and the iPad holder, which I'll link below. I'm Christian Borman. I've been blogging and posting about cars, bikes, food, tech and all sorts of things for years, so I figured it's time to start vlogging. Yeah, if I were you, I'd run for the hills or stick around and see what happens. So, welcome back again. Got some more toys. Not very big boxes like I had to show you for the sound system. Basically just this little box and this little thing, which kind of, you know, the box really doesn't show you anything about what it is. But I thought you would find this interesting because I was really scratching my head. I am a technologist, I live in technology, and I really, for the life of me, could not comprehend why an iPad without connectivity does not have a GPS chip in. I mean, it's just, maybe, you know, I lived through the process of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth not being anything, and that Bluetooth had to get below the a certain price point for it to be included in every chip, and Wi-Fi had to get below a certain price point, and NFC had to get below a certain price point. I just assumed that GPS would be at a price point that it would be in my device, and I just assumed that it wasn't that clever, or that it wasn't using a GPS, which uses the cell network. So it wasn't until I got onto some forums and quite a lot of dug really deep into the forums that I found that you actually do need a GPS. And then it took a little bit more research to find a GPS that I was going to be actually happy having in the car, in terms of fit, etc. wise, and that was of a reasonable amount of money, because some of the options were hundreds of pounds, some of them required all sorts of antenna wiring, etc. This is very simple. I do have a lot more complex Wi-Fi in the Land Rover that is hardwired, but I don't always use it because it is a test bed, but it is there for what it is, to test things. So generally when I'm goofing around making videos, or just using it for my own personal use, then I will use one of these. And obviously, to demonstrate, you're unlikely to have a Dataflex router in your vehicle, so I'll show you things that you will have. So yeah, let's go and get these into the Land Rover, and in both rainy and sunny scenarios, to show you the complete weather variations that we have in this lovely country. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. Hey, well, welcome to another edition of What to Do With Your Defender. I'm now in a car park in London next to the Thames, living the dream. It's very wet. I've got a leaky door panel thing, but so I've got a wet right foot. But this is a perfect time to show you something quite interesting. So this is a ball that you can get from RAM Mount, and it enables you to put some fantastic things onto your Defender, because even though I've got this Pioneer that has a fantastic clip out thing there, and you can put your phone in here, and that is quite great, and you can charge it, it's simply sometimes you need something bigger than a phone to navigate with, and so along comes this trusty RAM mount, which you can quickly put onto there. It secures. You basically have this opening system, which means you can, and there's a spring in there, so it basically opens this side with the spring quicker than it opens the other sides. Same size balls, and there's two size balls you can get. I think this is the half-inch ball, could it be? and there is a 1-inch ball, or there is a 1-inch ball and there's a 1.5-inch ball. I can't remember, there's only two, you can work it out for yourself, but basically this should be good enough for a iPad mini, which is what I've got. I had one hanging around, and to be honest, that's rather big enough. If you get something bigger, it's going to risk, certainly on a Defender, it's going to risk bouncing around when you go off-road. I've tried this one off-road and it really doesn't bounce around, so all very good. Pretty easy. As I said before, there's a spring there on this side, not on that side, so as you open this up, this stays connected, this opens up, so you can get it over the mount, and then you just tighten it the other way, get it the right way around. Always helps. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or just go with feel. And there we go, you tighten that up. You don't have to tighten too much because it's made of rubber, and you have I'm going to put that a little bit higher, so a little bit higher, and you have that there. Fantastic. So once you have your mount on, you can get your trusty old iPad, and the iPad just clicks in like that. Next time I'll clean the screen, but you then plug in whatever power adapter that you've got, which I've done really well there, and you're good to go with a much bigger screen than you had before. Now you can move this up and down, which I'm going to show you in a second, and it's when you're navigating like I do sometimes across, for example, France, and you want to absolutely make sure that you're not going via Paris, then you need a bigger screen, simply. There are many other situations I can give, but I think everybody gets the Paris one. There's never a good time to go through a major big city. So we're going to pull this down a bit like that. As you can see, when you open this, it lets you articulate all the joints. If you get it a bit too low, it makes it a bit difficult to tighten there. So I try and keep it a bit something like that. And you can always give it another tighten here. But yeah, it's pretty sturdy. One other thing that's really nice about this arm design is that obviously when it's connected, it's like that. When you disconnect it, it kind of folds pretty flat, which makes it a lot easier to open up and put in your extremely tidy cubby box. Amazing. So today, with a little bit of luck, we will be able to see it get a network connection, which you don't notice. So when I originally got this, I tested it, obviously, as you do, and you can see it's definitely got a network connection. But I tested it as you do without actually going and putting a destination in, and it wasn't until I departed on to a very long trip that I realised that I didn't have the
We're all set. Let's go.
I didn't have the connectivity that I needed, or the GPS. So yeah, it made for quite a long trip. That one was especially, it was going through France, and if anyone has been through France, they will know you need to avoid Paris as much as you can, and you can't really do that very easily whilst driving if you're navigating on your own, or even sometimes with people who are not that great at navigating on a phone, whereas on an iPad you can. Now it's still saying no GPS up here, I don't know if you can see that, but it is. So we're going to go into settings and see why that is. But generally, I've never had it do that. So we go into Bluetooth, and we see it's not connected to the Garmin. So it's connected to the Garmin, it's now connected. Waze is actively using your location. That's very nice of it to tell me.
In 800 meters, turn right.
And it now has lost the no GPS sign, which is good. When there are no planes, it's very peaceful here. There's a plane just going over now. But I think you'll agree it is time to go, because that tide is coming in. And I do have an enormous amount of debris coming past. I don't think there'll be any trouble with the Land Rover. It wasn't any coming in, shouldn't be any going out. But it will make for a nice little demonstration of my setup here, wobbling over wobbly bits of wood, etc., climbing up a slippery incline to get away from the tide. But yeah, now the plane's gone, I can show you the piece. peaceful. It's almost, I mean, this is basically the beach. This is Battersea on the sea, Battersea Beach. You heard it here first. I've always wondered what it's like to live in one of those. I'm sure it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's set off and show you how this goes. It's always good when it starts. Don't think I need low range to get out of here. See if the network connectivity's changed. Nice cloud of smoke. So if we chose to drive here, it's still saying, uh-oh, we have a network connection. Then if you can see 65 degrees, actually I better move her a bit before I get. But yeah, we're going to drive over a load of debris, which is nothing for a Defender, and it didn't make the iPad move one bit. We like that. We like that. my Defender in front of these locations, just so you have something interesting from my part of the world to see. I had to fend off crazy women who told me I couldn't park here, dog walkers staring at me, all sorts of things. It's what I do in the name of YouTube videos. It's pretty intense.